بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. Let's see where we left here. Okay. All right, we left off at the part of Adam alayhi salam. He has been created, and then Allah has breathed the spirit that He has created into Adam. Then he sneezes and says, Alhamdulillah, and the reply was, Yarhamukallah. And we came to the part where Adam was taught all of the names. It says, Allah turned His attention toward the assembly of angels. They were still ignorant of the great potential which Allah had invested in this new creature, Adam. But they were prepared to obey Allah's command and prostrate to Adam because their conviction that Allah would not command them to do something without a reason for that, a good reason. However, before Allah ordered them to prostrate, He wished to demonstrate to them what they had accepted based on faith, that Adam was the most worthy of all the creatures and superior to any angel. And here reminds me of narration that says that Allah has created angels with intellect and no desires. And He created animals with desires but without the intellect. And with man, He created both. So if he uses his intellect to overcome his desires, then he can reach a level higher than the angels. And if he lets his desires overpower his intellect, he will become less than the animals. This is riwayat from Imam Ali alayhi salam. This is why we see in the Quran they said they are astray. Nay, they are astray more than the cattle. So Allah compares people to animals in Quran as cows, if they let their desires overcome their intellect. Also, we have riwayats that say that the angels wish they could be human for certain things. Many things. I remember there was a riwayat with 6 of those things. One of them was for congregational salat. Other thing was making peace between the brothers that have fallen out with each other. And there was many other things. So the angels wish they could become human to get this type of thawab that we are capable of getting. He says, before the assembly of angels, in the span of an instant, Allah taught Adam all of the names of His creatures. These names were not mere words. They represented deep, complete knowledge about all of Allah's creatures, seen and unseen. Those that had been created and those that were yet to be created, those that were animate and inanimate. Chief among these creatures were the divine guides, the prophets, and the other infallible beings who Allah would create. So in the footnotes, the author, he says, some have suggested that Allah simply taught Adam the names, the words, kalamat, not like the meanings, but just the words of these things, of these creatures. And he says words were certainly not the subject of this first lesson for the following reasons. Why were they not just the names? For example, cup, phone, pen, or these things. No, he taught them the meanings behind them. He says, why were they not just mere words? He said, words are simply conventions for ease of communication that change with time, while what Adam was taught was something real and meaningful. As far as names change for things over time. We come up with different names for different things in different languages, but they all point to that object. Language is a tool to get to the meaning. If it were words that Adam learned, the angels would have become as knowledgeable as he, as soon as he informed them of the words for everything. Rather, even after he told them what he knew, they still remained ignorant of this knowledge. So it was something else where Adam had an inner knowledge of these things. If Allah simply taught Adam the words, the angels could have objected, saying, Allah, if you had taught us these words instead of Adam, then we could have been qualified to be your vicegerents instead of him. So it was something more than just words which Allah taught Adam. He says Allah presented a representation of all of these creatures to his angels. Among them were prophets and messengers from Adam's progeny. The best of those were Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, and their righteous companions and their followers. He said to the angels, inform me of their names if you were truthful in your prior implied claim that you are more worthy than Adam. They said, exalted are you, we have absolutely no knowledge except what you have taught us. You are alone the all-knowing, the all-wise. Allah addressed Adam and he told Adam, Ya Adam, inform them of the names of these creatures. So he saw that these angels, he first showed them, okay, you don't know these. Okay, Adam, you tell them. He's superior over the angels in this regard. He had this knowledge. So when he told them their names, Allah said to the angels, didn't I tell you, I know whatever is unseen in the skies and in the earth. And I know what you reveal and what you used to hide. When they asked Allah about the wisdom behind creating such a person as Adam, they revealed part of their intention, but they had concealed within their heart the sentiment that no earthly creature could come as close to Allah as they could have. But now they seem that they underestimated Adam. We see here one of the riwayat says from Imam Rida alayhi salam, from Imam Qadam, from Imam Sadiq, from all the way back until Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi, through the chain of the Imams. He says, Allah has not created any creature nobler than me. This is Prophet Muhammad speaking. Imam Ali said, Ya Rasulullah, are you nobler or is angel Jibreel nobler than you? The Prophet said, Ya Ali, the blessed and sublime Allah has made the messengers nobler than the nearby stationed angels. He has also made me nobler than all of the prophets and messengers. Ya Ali, He has made you and the divine leaders after you the noblest after me. Ya Ali, the angels are at our service and at the service of those who love us. Ya Ali, they are the same angel who sustain the throne of Allah and those around it, and sing glory and praise to their Lord, believe in Him, implore forgiveness for those who believe in our mastery, our walayat. Were it not for us, Allah would not have even created Adam or Hawa or Eve, Jannah or Nar, or the heavens and the earth. How could we, Ahlul Bayt, he's saying, how could not we be nobler than the angels? Saying that because of us, Allah created everything else because of us. So how could we not be more noble than the angels? We recognized our Lord earlier than they did. Prophet is saying that they recognized, them and Ahlul Bayt recognized Allah before the angels did. We sang glory and praise to Him and sanctified Him before them. The first things that Allah created were our spirits, which He made declare His unity and exalt Him. After this, the creation of Nur of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, He created the angels. The Prophet says, once the angels saw our spirits as a single light, they found it to be majestic. So we said, Subhanallah, and declared that Allah is exalted high above our traits. When the angels saw the majesty of our rank, we testified to the unity of Allah. We said, La ilaha illallah, so that the angels would know that there is no God except Allah, and that we are only servants, that we are not gods, and we should not be worshipped alongside of God. When they saw the greatness of our position, We declared that Allahu Akbar, Allah is greater than being compared to anything else, so that the angels would know that Allah is great and no one can attain a high position like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They saw the honor and strength that Allah had given them. So we declared, Ahlul Bayt says to the angels, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. There is no might or power except with Allah. When they saw the blessings granted to us by Allah, that is our being obliged to obey Him, we declared Alhamdulillah, so that the angels would know that praising Allah for His blessings is the right of Allah, the haqq Allah, right of Allah. High is His remembrance, incumbent upon us. Then the angels declared Alhamdulillah. Thus, it was by us that the angels were led to the ma'rafah, or the recognition of the oneness of Allah, His glory, His majesty, His praise, His exaltation. Then Allah, after this, then Allah has created Adam. He placed our nur, our light of Ahlul Bayt, in the loin of Adam to carry, and ordered the angels after this to fall down in prostration in order to exalt and to honor us, Ahlul Bayt. So after Allah has taken the nur of Ahlul Bayt, put it in the loins of them, then the angels prostrated out of respect for Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. Their prostration was indeed equal to their worship of the honorable Allah, and a form of honoring and obedience for Adam due to our being in his loin. How could we not then be nobler than the angels, while all of the angels have fallen down in prostration to Adam? It's a beautiful narration from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which paints a clearer picture of what is happening at this time in the creation of Adam. So we see here that He says all of the angels bowed down. So Allah addressed the angels saying, Adam and the righteous from his progeny are far superior to you because they will bear whatever burdens they are made to bear, and they will persevere against the predicaments in which they find themselves and against attacks by Shaitan's armies. He says in the footnotes about this Shaitan's armies, he says, presumably Allah refers here to a figure named Shaitan to foreshadow Iblis, impending rebellion and mischief for which he is later banished and given the name of Shaitan. But, let's see. It is interesting and appropriate that the Quran always refers to Shaitan before he is outcast from the skies by his name. His name is Iblis. And after he is outcast, then he is given the derogatory name of Shaitan. He says, I have conformed to this usage in my writing as well. It is also important to note that in several traditions, we are told that Iblis' name is derived from the word Iblas, which means hopelessness, because he lost all hope in receiving Allah's mercy. The author, he says, these traditions, they seem a bit problematic, because he said Iblis is the proper name that he had before this incident came about, when he was a righteous servant of Allah. And he had only reason to lose hope in Allah's mercy after his act of defiance, at which point the Quran refers to him not by his given name anymore. They don't refer to him as Iblis. Now they call him Shaitan. So he changed from the name Iblis to Shaitan. As we said, Iblis was a pious servant of Allah for many years. He did one sujood for 4,000 years, for example. This should be a good example to let us know that no matter how high we think of ourselves, we have never done a sujood for 4,000 years, and Shaitan did, and Shaitan fell because he made bad decisions. He says that the mankind will be protecting themselves against these things, predicaments, attacks by Shaitan, their lower desires, against burdens of supporting a family, against the struggle to earn a lawful living, against the annoying fear of an attack by enemies and tyrannical kings, against hardships in traveling on roads and through impasses and frightening places, through valleys, over mountains and hills, to gather what is lawful and good sustenance, so that they can find and sustain themselves and their families. The best of the believers will bear all these hardships, fulfill their obligations, combat the forces of Shaitan, and rout them to get them away. Struggle against their lower desires and bar them from attaining what they desire and overpower them despite the forces that have been combined within them. To overpower Shaitan and the waswas from Shaitan, waswas Shaitaniya, the whispers of Shaitan. Even though we have all of these desires in us, he says sexual desire, desire for fine clothes, food, honor, power, inclination to boasting and conceit, jealousy, envy. And you, my angels, Allah is telling the angels, you, my angels, are free from all of these things. Neither does sexual desire arouse you, nor does the desire for food drive you. Remember, Ibrahim offered his guests to come eat with him. He said, no, the angels do not eat. So he was frightened because they did not eat, and they told him, don't be frightened. He said, nor does fear for your worldly or spiritual well being enter your hearts, nor will Shaitan be engaged in misguiding you, talking to angels. For you shall be protected from him, O my angels. Any of these humans who obeys me and guards his religion against these pitfalls and challenges has thereby borne for the sake of his love for me what you have not borne, and has earned in proximity to me what you have not earned. For this reason, I hereby order you all to prostrate before Adam. Look at what man has to go through. He has all of these desires that angels don't have. Yet he has to fight against these desires, overpower them, do the right thing, and get reward from Allah. Where the angels, they don't have to do all of these things. Reminds me of a story in Tafsir Kumi, the angels Harut and Marut. So these angels, they were saying that, look at mankind. They're always doing the wrong thing. They're always sinning against Allah. They're disbelieving in Allah. They're doing sins. They're doing this thing. They're doing that thing. What is the point of these people? You know, and they were always criticizing these people, the humanity, humans. So Allah said, okay, I will send two of you down to the earth in the form of man, and I will give you the same desires that man has. So he gave these angels the desires, all of them that man had. Sent them to the earth. When they got there, they saw a beautiful woman. They just got there. They haven't even been there 5 minutes, let's say. They saw a beautiful woman. So they approach her and they want to sleep with her, right? So the lady tells them, in order to be with me, you have to accept my religion. They said, no, no, no. So they walk away. Then they get overpowered by their desires of man. They turn back. They go to they say, okay, we accept. He says, okay, my religion says that in order to have acceptance, you need to drink wine. Says, oh man, we already did one sin now. Now we have to do another one. Well, we're overpowered by the desires. Okay, they drink wine. They say, this is part of worship. They say, okay, now you have drunk wine. Now part of complete the worship is to bow down before the idol. And it's okay, we're already this far into it. They bow down before the idol. So then they go with the lady, and then a man sees them. And he says something to them that you guys are up to no good. So now the lady says, I cannot do anything with you because this man has seen us. The only way for you to be with me is you have to go kill this man so he doesn't tell anybody, because he's going to tell everyone. So these two, they go and they kill that man to be with that woman. Look, in the matter of 10 minutes how their life has turned. They were criticizing man, of all the things they've done, but they don't know the feelings that man and women they have inside of them. And within a span of a short time, they have already disbelieved in Allah. They have drank wine, worship idol, killed a person, and did zina with a lady. 5 sins in the just like this. And it said that there was some punishment for those two. And Allah rebuked them. It's, look how you criticize man, and you don't know what they're going through and how they are struggling, because they don't have those desires. So that's the gist of the story, which is found in Tafsir Qummi. So let's get back to where we were. Adam turned. So after these angels are ordered to prostrate to Adam, it says Adam turned toward the vast assembly of angels. In unison, they all fell prostrate before Adam. It was an act done in obedience to Allah and in honor of his vicegerent, who was to be invested with authority over all of Allah's creation. Through their prostration, they also honored the prophets and imams who would be born from Adam's progeny. They honored these prophets and imams. They placed their foreheads upon the earth to further ennoble this creature made of earth. Since Allah himself had ordered them to prostrate to Adam, they knew they were worshiping not him to whom they prostrated, but him who had commanded them to prostrate. So they're not worshiping Adam. It was a sign of honor, a sign of respect for Adam and for Ahlul Bayt, that they submitted to them. And it was done on the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So one might say, how did Adam know about these names in the first place, right? We see that there's in Sunni tafsir, actually there's a scholar that compiled all of the Sunni tafsir about Imam Ali in the Quran, alayhi salam. And one of the ayats that he brings about Adam, this is something we'll discuss a little later, but I think this part we can bring now, about when Adam turned to his Lord. In the Quran, it says, فَتَلَقَ آدَمُ مِنْ رَبِّهِ كَلَمَاتٍ فَتَابَ عَلَيْهِ إِنَّهُ هُوَ تَوَّابُ رَحِيمٌ. Then Adam received some words from his Lord, and he turned to him. Verily, he is oft-turning, the most merciful. Surah Baqarah, ayat 237. Abdullah ibn Abbas said, I asked Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi, what words did Adam receive from his Lord, then turned to him? Rasulullah said, he, Adam, asked him Allah, بحق Muhammad wa Ali wa Fatima wa Hassan wa Hussein. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So we see that tawassul by names of Ahlul Bayt is a tradition all the way from Adam alayhi salam. And we read I've done a lecture on this before, I have online, that all of these prophets that we have done tawassul and asked for help from Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. Whether it's Ibrahim in the fire, Nabi Yusuf in the well, all of these, Nabi Musa when he is splitting the sea, all of these things are done through tawassul of Ahlul Bayt. It's very interesting. It can be found in Hayatul Qulub, the first volume by Alama Majlisi. So how did Adam know these names? So this is from Sunni narrations. This is what I told you, that he asked by the names of Ahlul Bayt. Then Adam said, O Lord, verily I see figures, the likeness of my creation. Then what is this? Something that is shaped like me, but what are they, these lights? Allah said, this is the lights of two figures from your children. The name of the first of the two is Muhammad. The beginning of the prophethood is with you, Adam, and its end is with him. And the other is the brother and son of his father's brother. His name is Ali. He will stand by and support Muhammad in his time of need and help him with his strength. And the lights around it are the lights of the progeny of this prophet and his brother. This Ali will marry the prophet's daughter, being for him his wife, and uniting by it the first of creation of faith with it, and confirming for it that was made her the leader of the women of the worlds. And her origination and her progeny are from the two lights. We will cut the rope or the means of obtaining and the lineage on the day of judgment, except his rope and his lineage. Then Adam prostrated and thanked Allah that they will be from amongst his progeny. Then Allah turned to him for that prostration and commanded the angels to prostrate to Adam. So we see that a lot of this, the reason the angels were prostrating Adam is for honor of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, and that Adam would carry these lights. Then we see the next part. So this is about the angels prostrating to Adam. There was one individual that didn't prostrate, we all know, Iblis. He was in the ranks with the angels, but he did not prostrate to Adam. He was not an angel, he was a jinn. But he worshipped alongside of the angels for so long, he became like a category of the angels. And this is why the Christians, they believe that Shaitan was an angel. But he was not, he was a different species. But he was amongst them so long that he became like an honorary amongst them. Says God created him as he created all of the jinn out of fire, so that he would have the opportunity to worship his creator and his oneness. And Iblis had fulfilled the true purpose of his creation with exceptional diligence for thousands of years. However, the pangs of jealousy that had gnawed at his soul before when he gazed at the lifeless form of Adam now flared up within him. He was certain he was better than Adam, and he was certain that Allah made a terrible mistake. He flatly refused to prostrate to Adam, and he acted arrogantly. And he showed that deep in his heart he had always been amongst the disbelievers. Thus, arrogance became the first sin ever to be the first sin to ever happen, was arrogance. Allah addressed Iblis, demanding, Ya Iblis, what is the matter with you that you are not amongst those who are prostrating? This is in Quran, ayat Surah 15, ayat 32. And then he says, what prevented you from prostrating when I commanded you to do so? Surah 7, ayat 12. Before this creature whom I have created with my own two hands, were you acting arrogantly just this once, or were you always from the arrogant ones? This is Surah 38, ayat 75. Iblis replied, it's not fitting for me to prostrate before a human being that you created from dry clay, fashioned from some dark, foul-smelling clay. I'm better than he is. You created me from fire, you created him from clay. He believed that Allah had issued an irrational command. We have to be careful not to fall into this. Sometimes we don't understand something, but Allah has commanded it. Maybe we don't know the reason, and we say this is an irrational command. Why does Allah order me to do this? It doesn't make sense to me, so I don't believe it. I don't do it. This is what Shaitan is saying, that it's an irrational command. Why would you command me to prostrate before something like that? It doesn't make any sense. I'm way better than that being. I've been worshiping you for all of these years. He knew that Allah had created him out of fire and Adam out of clay, and it was obvious that fire was more luminous than clay. Since he was created from something more luminous than Adam, he concluded that he was better than Adam. Furthermore, he decided that it was senseless, even wrong for Allah to order him to prostrate before Adam, since one who is superior must never prostrate to one who is inferior. So we see here that one of the traits of Shaitan was pride, was racism. I'm better than him. I'm from here, I'm from fire, he is from clay. Someone says, oh, I am white, he is black, I am better than him. Oh, I am from Iran, I am better from Iraq. I am from Iraq, I am better from another country, Yemen or Syria or something. These things where everyone is thinking they're the best. But Allah has created all different nations and tribes that they get to know one another, like He mentioned in Surah Hujurat, Surah 49, I believe ayat 13 maybe. So Allah has made us not to be prideful over other people, not to think that we're better than other people. And this was downfall of Shaitan. He thought he was better than everyone else. He was better than man. The author says Iblis made several key mistakes in his reasoning. He knew that Adam was made of clay, but he did not know the full potential of clay. He did not know that clay was a precious gem because it had the potential to hold divine knowledge and wisdom when combined with the human soul. Iblis could only see the material dullness of this clay, so he was oblivious that from a spiritual perspective, it was more brilliant than fire. Neither did he know what Adam was made of. He did not know that Allah had combined in Adam four other major elements: light, fire, air, water. Light gave him intellect and understanding. Fire allowed his body to digest food and drink. Air fled the flames of the fire and sustained his life functions. Water kept the fire in check and prevented it from drying his body and overheating it. This is all from narrations in Bahar al-Anwar from Alama Majlisi. Author says, if it had only been ignorance, Allah may have overlooked it. The angels had also been ignorant of these things about Adam too, but they had not been arrogant. They had asked Allah why, because they were ignorant of the fact. So they asked, okay, why? It's different. If someone asks you to do something, and you say, what is the reason? So I want to know why I'm doing it. And then to say, I'm not doing that. Never. No way. I will never do that. It's two different things. So angels asked inquisitively, how, why? Can you explain to us? Like we mentioned, Ibrahim wanted to see resurrection. So Allah told him about the birds, where he got the birds close to him and killed them and sacrificed them and mixed their flesh and put them on the different mountains and called them back to him so he could have yaqeen, certainty, and see the process. He wanted to understand it more. This is different. Iblis was telling Allah, you have made a mistake. You gave me a bad command. This is not right. This is not wise. This is foolish and these things, and refused to do it. He thought he knew better than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Iblis's attempt to for Allah by saying, by your glory, if you excuse me from prostrating before Adam, I will worship you with devotion unmatched by any of your creatures. So he told Allah, just let this one go. Don't have me prostrate to Adam, and I'll worship you for a long time. He's trying to make a deal with Allah now. Allah replied, I have no need for your worship. I wish but to be worshipped as I want, not as you want. A lot of times we want to worship Allah the way we want to, but not the way that Allah wants us to. And the guys I remember growing up with, older guys, they would tell me that they called that Islam, not Islam, Islam, because it's his desire, what he wants to do. So we have to make sure that we don't do that. We have to conform our desires to go with Islam, not Islam to go with our desires. There's some people that they will practice religion as long as it's okay for them. But then when they get something difficult, something they don't want to do, I'm okay. I'll pass on that one. I won't do that one. And they can choose what they want to do. So Allah told them, I wish to be worshipped as I want, not as you want. Then Allah ordered him, get down from here, for it is not appropriate that you act arrogantly here. Get out of this place. You are hereby amongst the abased ones. Get out of this place, for you are hereby outcast. You are hereby damned and cursed until day of judgment. So here we see that the heavenly realms of angels, they submitted to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the one that Allah chose. Allah chose Adam and said, submit to him. He is my Khalifa fil ard. He is the Khalifa in the earth. Allah chose him as Khalifa. And the angels submitted. But what about those who didn't submit? The Iblis, after he rejected Allah's command, he was outcast. And it was Iblis who rejected Allah's command. And Allah called Iblis a disbeliever for this. And, all the ayats before this, we mentioned his name was Iblis. But after this incident, they called him Shaitan. And we have to look at some similarities. And here I want to make the point, what I'm going to talk about is not about mustad'afin. Mustad'afin are those who are weak-minded or they did not have sufficient proof. They were unable to have the proof, not talking about them. For example, other schools of law, of schools of Islam, but they didn't have the proofs. No, we're talking about the ones who are stubborn, who know and they have seen and they reject it. They reject. We see that, a person, he's presented with the Khalifa of his time, the Imam of his time, the one whom Allah divinely appointed successors, and he rejects the one that Allah has chosen, the Khalifa, just as Adam, Shaitan has rejected Adam. We see that when a person rejects the one that Allah has chosen for mankind, then he is following in the footsteps of Iblis. Allah called Iblis disbeliever for this. And those who, follow from this path, because Allah has commanded us to follow someone. For example, the Khalifa in that time was Adam. Who is the Khalifa in this time after Prophet Muhammad? Imam Ali alayhi salam. So if someone rejects the Khalifa of their time, they are following this path. And we see that Allah said, and when we said to the angels, Adam, refused and he was arrogant. So he became of the kafirin, the disbelievers. So if someone is presented with the truth, the proofs of walayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, and he is arrogant and he refuses and he rejects the Khalifa of his time, what is the difference between what he is doing and what Iblis is doing? We have to think about, why are we given these examples in Quran? Same example. And some say, okay, maybe shayateen are only jinn, right? But we see Quran, it states that we have shayateen from men and from jinn. Allah says in Surah 6, ayat 112, and thus we have made for every prophet an enemy. Shayateen al-ins, well, jinn, ins, mankind. They have shayateen from mankind and from jinn. And when they asked Imam Sadiq alayhi salam about explaining this ayat in Surah Baqarah, enter into submission, one and all, and do not follow the footsteps of shaitan. By entering into submission, he says, this means accepting the walayat of Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. By not following the footsteps of shaitan, Imam Sadiq says, this means do not follow anyone other than Ali. What did Shaitan do? Shaitan did not follow the Khalifa that Allah appointed and went his own way. What's the difference? If we are presented with the proofs of walayat, we see them, we read them, and we refused out of pride and arrogance and reject them and said, I will never do that because someone else is better than Amir al-Mu'mineen in my eyes. Allah commanded us to follow walayat. So Imam is saying, The footsteps of Shaitan is following someone other than Amir al-Mu'mineen. This is in Tafsir Burhan, Amal by Sheikh Tusi, Basharat Mustafa, 3 books, for example, is many books. So Shaitan worshipped Allah alongside these angels for thousands of years. However, all of that worship of thousands of years, none of it will benefit an individual if they reject the one that Allah has divinely appointed in their time. It will not help them. We see that Shaitan prostrated for 4,000 years. Allah told him to get out, that he is cursed and he is a disbeliever because he did not submit to the one Allah had asked him to submit to. This is why we see riwayat. For example, Imam Ali alayhi salam says, if a man worships Allah between the rukn and the maqam and fast every day of his life, his entire existence, without believing in our walayat, he will not benefit in any way. This is in Basharat al-Mustafa. Also, one more that Imam Bakr alayhi salam said, if a man keeps standing the whole night for salat, fasts during the day, gives all his wealth as sadaqah, performs hajj every year of his life, while he does not recognize the walayat or the guardianship of the vicegerent of Allah, so as to love him and perform all his practices under his guidance, and does not have rewards and is not the faithful. So this is very heavy material. You know, we have to look at the similitudes why Allah is giving these. I think we are running out of the time. Okay, we have to look at the similitudes on why Allah is giving us these, these advices. And if I can have just 2 minutes, I'll finish this part so we can start another session, inshallah, next week.
Inshallah.
Okay, so one point I want to draw from this is that Shaitan thought he was better than the Khalifa that Allah appointed, that he was the wisest of all those before Adam. So he was jealous of Adam and thought he should have had that position. Shaitan was cursed for this act of arrogance, thinking that he was more noble and more worthy than for this position of Khalifa. Therefore, we draw from this conclusion that considering yourself to be more rightful for the position of Khalifa is an act that's blameworthy, because this is what Shaitan was blameworthy for. Allah said to Shaitan, indeed, upon you is the curse until the day of judgment for this action. We see the riwayat from Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi salam that said 3 kinds of people will not have any attention by Allah on the day of judgment and will receive painful punishment from Allah. The first one is those who deny an imam appointed by Allah. Second, those who claim to be an imam appointed by Allah. And the third one is those who claim that those two have a share in Islam. This is from Mustadrak al-Wasa'il. So we see that these 3 that think that they should be in position of Khalifa, they will not have any attention from Allah on Day of Judgment. And this is following path of Shaitan. Ibn Abbas, he says that he asked Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi, is there anyone who hates Ali? He says, Prophet, some people think my ummah, my nation, signs of those who hate Ali is that they elevate people that who are lower than Ali, they elevate them above Ali. They put people in front of Ali. This has several sources, Basharat al-Mustafa, Amal al-Tusi, Bahar al-Anwar, so on and so forth. So to end this, we can see that Allah gives us examples in Quran of different stories. For example, Pharaoh, he met a bad end because he was a tyrant. So we can draw a conclusion that those who are tyrants will have a bad ending. Same here, those who refuse the command of Allah are arrogant against Allah, who think that they are better suited for Khalifa. Those who do not submit to the Khalifa that Allah has appointed, They are going down the same path that Shaitan has going down. And they will meet similar like this if they do not accept the truth and come back. But as I said, this is not for those people who are considered mustad'af. These are for those people who are like nawasib, those people who know and they reject anyways. So we've run out of the time, and inshallah, we'll pick back up next Sunday, inshallah. I will pray for all of you tomorrow when I go to the Haram in the morning, and keep me in your du'as. I'll be traveling Tuesday night back to DC, inshallah. So keep me in your dua, and
Thank you so much. Have a safe trip back home, and inshallah.